22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.
Check 1 2.
And are not afraid to say it.
Yo. And are not afraid to say it. Welcome. This is Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show every Sunday 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com. I am your host, A.J. Woodson. We got Dr. Bob Baskerville in the house. The lovely Lorraine Lopez is taking the day off. You know what I'm saying, to handle some business and whatever. And we may have an appearance from the man. He might grace us with his appearance a little bit later. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to go over a few things real quick before we really get into the show. First, thanks everybody who's been holding us down. The newspaper, the reception for the newspaper has been incredible. We put out the August issue in time for our 3rd anniversary. We came back with the September issue, the National Hispanic Heritage Month issue, which has been received very well. I thank everybody who's holding us down. Big shout to all the advertisers holding us down, which help us keep it free for the community. So I just wanted to get that out. We're working on the October issue. Got a couple of joints in there, like a column from the legendary Bob Laws. You know what I'm saying? Got a couple of other things going, but just want to thank everybody. And an update on I know y'all heard me talk about the situation with Omi Medina, the young man who's handicapped. Lives on the 2nd floor, walk up, needs to get an apartment in Yonkers on the 1st floor in a building with an elevator. So they were getting to run around, nothing was happening. They were called constituent services to the mayor in Yonkers. They told them to call Disabled on the Move, and basically they've been going back and forth. They called me, which is usually what people do when they feel like they're getting a runaround and they have nowhere else to turn. I got on the phone and called these people, and since I've been talking to them and they've been giving me regular updates, things seem to be in motion. Section 8 is kicking in, and with any luck, this family might actually have a home soon, which is what they need. But even that, the mayor's brother-in-law, the mayor's sister-in-law, the mayor's brother's wife has been coming by with dishes of food from the restaurant. The Westchester Correction Association brought all the kids school supplies, and they're going to get them their winter shoes. Like, the community is coming out to help these people, and that's what it's all about. And I just want to say to the constituent services and to Disabled on the Move, while I appreciate there's movement, I did mean what I said, that I'm going to follow this all the way through, and until this family is placed, I will not let up. So I do give you props for getting things in motion, and they had some kind of thing at the office on Friday. FIOS came and covered it. They said they're getting a little more exposure, but I should be meeting with Disabled on the Move maybe one day this week or next week, and I'm gonna find out what some of the holdups and what some of the problems are. Because while we're here to help, the Medina family is bigger than the Medina family because there's a lot of disabled out there that need help. There's a lot of homeless out there that need help. So we're going to just see how we can cut through this red tape. If it's the politicians not giving them the funds, you know what I'm saying, a lot of them are for re-election, so they're going to all hear my voice over the next week or two. So anyway, we're going to be following that through. And shout to Lorraine Lopez, who has really spearheaded this movement. She knew the Medina family. She got us involved. She got the Yonkers Voice involved. And, you know, as far as Black Westchester, we will continue to follow up. Shout out, me and Damon stopped by the, what was it yesterday? It was some kind of criminal reform panel. They had Damon spoke, New Rochelle Councilman Jared Rice spoke, who's an attorney. They had a couple of other people speak. It was definitely, you know, it's a shame. While it was at Theodore Young Community Center in White Plains, while there was a lot of people there, that place needed to be full. We don't come out as a people to all this stuff like that when this information is available, and then we sit back and complain about stuff. So, you know, we need to come fill these places when we have these events and they're free. You know what I'm saying? And get at the people when they're there. You know, there were some politicians there, politicians running for office. That was the time to get at them to complain about the things that need to be changed. We need to step up, people. We need to come out to these places. We need to fill our city council meetings, the county legislative meeting. We need to let the people hear our voice. You know what I'm saying? Or you can just sit back at home and keep complaining like you've been doing. And and for all of y'all who do that, y'all let me know how that's working out for you. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's enough of that. We about to get into the show. As I said, we got Dr. Robert Baskerville in the place to be. Dr. Robert Baskerville, Robert Baskerville, PhD, in the place to be. You know what I'm saying? Say a couple of words to the people, man.
What's up, everyone? It's good to be back with you guys after a hiatus of my own. You know, my congratulations to Black Westchester for continuing its success with the publication. You know, it was well received, and I'm certainly looking forward to further additions, and maybe I'll have something ready. Notice how they got to laugh everyone.
I ain't even gonna say nothing. We look for some more intellectual conversation with Dr. Bob. You know what I'm saying? So, word up. We look forward to that because, yo, real talk, Bob be breaking it down on a whole nother level. All the research and all that. Yo, people need to see that, yo. Some people just need to see it on that level. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a welcome addition to what we do. We got going on this. And I'm sure he'll speak more about it himself. But congratulations to Damon K. Jones, who was just selected Man of the Year from the Guardians. It's the New York Guardians. It's the actual the retirement. The ones that are retired, they have their own organization, and they pick someone each year who's been doing the most work, and in the movement.
Right.
And Damon has been all over the place, as you can see, and as we usually show you. And this year he has been awarded. So December 3rd, he will be awarded the Man of the Year Award.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Word up. Man of the Year Award. So we definitely proud of Damon, who keeps us going, who holds us down, who is always on the forefront. And he just, you know what I'm saying? It sound like as we spoke, the Man of the Year is in the place to be.
I was tempted to say the man of the next 2 hours, but
What's up?
What up, baby?
What's going on?
Yeah.
He done came back, found out his seat got swiped.
Look, it's a little less. Now I know why he likes it over here, though.
It's the less air. The air
Yeah,
goes
less
over his
air
head.
over here.
Yeah. So we was just talking about a little bit about yesterday.
What happened yesterday?
You spoke at the
Oh.
criminal reform thing.
Oh, yeah, that was real good, man. That was
Yeah.
real good. Big shout out to the Lower Hudson Valley Political Action Committee. That's Progressive Political Action
Progressive,
Committee.
yeah.
Big shout out. to them, and it was a great forum. It was a great forum, man. We networked with a lot of people, and let me tell you, Astorino got problems.
So someone came up to me, oh, Bob, you'll appreciate this.
What's that?
They first came up to Damien, and then they came up to me later and said,
Are we on Facebook?
Yes, Facebook Live, yes.
Oh, great.
I'm not sure about yours because I think you had to sign in.
Yeah, but that's all right.
So someone walked up and said, we just want to let you know the Westchester DA's office is, what was the exact words? How did she put it?
Horrified.
Horrified of you guys.
That if they don't want anything about them in Black Westchester magazine.
Well,
they're going to get one in
yeah.
December.
I mean, that doesn't even, they shouldn't even have said that. As a matter of fact, that's inappropriate.
No, actually, that's a badge of honor because I'm just telling you, that just made me want to work harder.
No, it may be a badge of honor, but actually, propriety requires that public officials not make statements like that.
Well, it wasn't. Well, it was someone that was
joking.
told. It was
Okay.
someone. We're not going to give up our sources.
Right. Someone,
But someone
shared that with us.
Shared
to let you know,
that with us.
Y'all got
Okay.
y'all got the.
That
run.
does, yes, it is a compliment.
He said it's a compliment.
Right. I wanted to I was talking about yesterday before we really get started. There was a young lady. I'm not sure if she's from New Rochelle, Rachel Motley, and she did a spoken word piece. Cause I've seen it before, and I wanted to share that now. And then we're gonna bring in our guests or whatever. So this is.
Lady I met at a social justice forum at New Rochelle High School that was sponsored by Westpac. Her name is Rachel Motley, and she's a spoken word artist. And here she is. Please give her a warm applause.
Good afternoon. First and foremost, I'd like to thank everyone for having me. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to recite a poem that I actually wrote earlier back in January. And it goes by the title of I've Seen This Before. I've seen this before. Over 400 years ago, mothers having to let go of their babies. Except they weren't bullets of nothing. It was slavery. They weren't cops shooting us at red lights. They were masters, whipping us from learning to read and write. I've seen this before. Over 50 years ago, when color was no good unless that color was of snow, when hoods hiding your face were a sign of power, instead of being worthy of bullets spraying you like a shower. Water, making darker things listen. You can even hear those water hose singing them if you listen. They say the dogs are a man's best friend, but if you were black in the 60s, you'd be looking at those bikes and praying to God, please fix it. I've seen this before, yes, that was all back then. But in today's age, the same treatment is not the cause of my skin. It's an accumulation of my color and the gender that's God-given. It's using the slang that I did that somehow makes me fit for prison. It's having hair and curls so coarse I'm automatically a villain. And it's managing to surprise you with these words that I have written. So if you have not seen this before, the way that I and my people have, please do not bother to ask me why I haven't been able to put some of these things past me. Please do not tell me that your privilege does not exist when you can step out into the night without the fear of being missed. And please, do not ask me if my hair is real when it's straight, because maybe if we value the length of time we've been oppressed between now and then, rather than the length of my hair, then maybe, just maybe then, we can make America great. But now we have a president who says law and order is the way to go. One endorsed by the KKK, the same group that attempts to deny us of our rights every day. Please do not look at me in disgust when I say do not blame black people for rioting, because some of your ancestors did the same thing to their rights from Britain when they were fighting. Please do not tweet all lives matter, because all men were created equal, except for those whose color was viewed as evil. Please do not ask me what I think about the cops when I drop to my porch
we got to share. You know, I like to share. We have situations like that. I don't know how well you can hear it, but she did her thing though.
Okay.
Her name was Rachel. It's on Black Westchester. You can see it on Black Westchester. That was one of her spoken word pieces. She spoke yesterday at the what was it called? The criminal reform. What was it called?
Criminal justice reform panel, and they also introduced what they recognize as progressive politicians that were
yes
pushing for office, and I think
test one too.
If people actually come out and vote, we could really get rid of Astorino and change the direction of the county, to be more inclusive of everyone, So, I just hope people come out and vote, and I really hope black people, because Astorino, he can't be county exec without Democratic votes. And last election, a lot of black folks came out to support him. Pastors and a lot of black pastors. So I hope, that they have a different view on who they're going to support this time.
No doubt. Quick shout out. Lorraine Lopez said, "Congratulations, Damon, over the Man of the Year award."
Oh, thank you. Where? Matter of fact, where is Lorraine?
She's not coming today. She's taking a week off.
Hey, Lorraine.
Got to work on that car. When we get stuck on the road. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
No, we need you to travel safe.
Robbie Mann said, "Damon, what's up?
What's up,
AJ?
Robbie? I can't have a long conversation with you in the other thread right now. I'm on the radio."
Ken Bright, thank you. He's going to check in, share the page on his page. Glenn P. Butler said, "Congratulations, my brother, to Damon."
Thank you.
My cousin Peter J. Robinson in New York City is listening. Stephen Lewis from Atlantic
Star.
Yeah, Atlantic Star.
Hey, what's up, brother Stephen?
You know what I'm
what's
saying?
happening, my brother?
And everybody else who's tuned in, to get your comments, leave them on the thread on my page, and I can read your names and read your comments and stuff. Now I know we got some guests coming in. Are guests here yet, or are we waiting for some people, or are we waiting?
Yeah, the brother from New Rochelle, he's stuck in traffic. He's coming from Long Island, so he says he's going to be pushed back a little minute. So I told him we're here. So he's on his way.
Okay, do you want to bring in the one?
Yeah.
All right, they can actually see. Come on in.
Yeah, come on in.
They can actually see us out there.
Yeah, all right. Oh yeah, okay. Let me sit. I'll sit over there. Huh? What are we doing? Oh, now I gotta sign out now.
How you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
All right, we playing musical chairs here. As we introduce our guests, as we bring them in, everybody switch their chairs and switch. Everybody has a screen in front of them. You can sign into your Facebook, your social media. You can do all that while you talk to your people. They can talk to you. You know what I'm saying? While you're here, yeah. Very interactive. You know what I'm saying? We interact with the people. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Word up. And
Yo,
you know
what
your
you
mic,
doing, man?
You know where your mic control is.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, let's close the door, because nobody needs to know who's out there.
Okay. Oh, he was the first one here.
Oh,
he
yeah.
came in. He was the only one out there. Yeah. So, well, you know your control. You know your.
Yes.
Okay, we're good. And Damon, introduce your guests.
I'm gonna let these brothers introduce themselves and the department that they're representing. I think it's great to have law enforcement organizations that come on the show to talk about the importance of being in law enforcement. No matter what department that you're in, as black men, black women, I mean, it's a beautiful job to be a part, and it's a great responsibility to take care of our communities, through law enforcement. I had a crazy discussion with a guy on Facebook who said that black people shouldn't be in law enforcement at all, and I was like, yo, dude, you're bugging, like, really, you know. And as long as we could try to get more young people, you know, to take the test, to be a part of this institution, we could change it from within, you know. But we need more good people, you know, a good character also. You know, we're just not looking for black folks. We're looking for conscious black folks, you know, to come on the job and have the attitude that they're going to be protectors of their community. So
we'd rather have conscious cops than colored cops. If it's just, yo, we just really, I just want you to be conscious. I don't care what color you are. I want you to be conscious. Yo, real talk. Because I'm going to tell you, I said this and I haven't said it to you. There are times when I fear getting pulled over by a black and a white cop, because the black one's going to show out more for the white cop. And you know what I'm saying? Like, as opposed to getting pulled over by two blacks or two. That scenario I've been in.
If he is not conscious.
Huh?
If he is not conscious.
If he's not conscious. I've been in that situation, and I caught it more unnecessarily from the brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, for no apparent reason. You know, and while the white cop was cool, it's like, oh no, it's okay. He's had a hard day. The white cop trying to break him, trying not to keep me calm. You know what I'm saying?
He was like, brother, calm down.
I'm a little bit. So I just said we'd rather have conscious cops than all colored cops. I just want y'all to be conscious. I don't care what color y'all are.
Just be good.
Yes. But introduce yourselves, brothers, and what department that you're representing, and you know, and why you're here.
Good evening. I'm Neil Reynolds. I'm the lieutenant with the New Rochelle Police Department, and thank you for this opportunity. We are having an exam for police officers, and I reached out to Damon through a mutual friend, and he was gracious enough to invite me, and I really appreciate it.
That's right.
Welcome.
Now I'm holding up the paper so they can see it.
My name is Charles Walker. I'm a sergeant with the Yonkers Police Department, also president of the Yonkers Guardian Association, as well as
And make sure you talk directly. Pull it to you.
There you go, bro.
we go right here?
Yeah. So
All
I want everybody to hear you. Yeah.
All right, again, Charles Walker. I'm sergeant with the Yonkers Police Department, also the president of the Yonkers Guardian Association. And as Lieutenant Reynolds said, we're here to promote the Yonkers test, upcoming, and, you know, talking about whatever right now.
That's great.
Whatever.
And
That's great.
before y'all get started, I just really want to say, and you know, I thanked all our advertisers because they keep the paper free for the community. The Yonkers PD reached out to us and they were like, "Yo, we want that inside front cover page.
Yes.
We have some recruitment. We want that page." And that's one of our more expensive pages. And I was like, I greatly appreciate y'all, because I didn't reach out to y'all. Y'all saw that we were a viable place to spend your advertising dollars. And, you know, y'all recognize that, and y'all someone reached out to us. So I big y'all up. I got to, just on that alone, I appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. I think that was actually what helped get me here when I said, hey, Yonkers got a page in Black Westchester. Looking around, we unfortunately got into the recruitment game late, which is a part of why I'm here now also. And hopefully the next time around, which I'm hoping will be next year, and we can get a longer lead time into it, we can do the same with advertising.
Right. Now has it been a problem recruiting young people of color? You know, has it been any pushback? You know, with with everything going on in the news, you know, how has it been dealing with young people? And because I know I've had issues, but how has it been, you know, talking about the profession and getting young people to say they want to take the test and they, you know, want to be a part of an institution, when sometimes, you know, you have a lot of negativity going on and misunderstood negativity, because, you know, nobody's bashing police. Some people just want, you know, justice. You know, they have their issues for justice. But, you know, when we have the blue uniform and when we're out there and people know that we're law enforcement, you know, how do y'all guys get a response when you're actually out there trying to recruit?
Well, like you said, it's look, there's a history, right?
Right.
So you have to overcome that hurdle. And I work midnights. Usually, as everybody's parents used to say, nothing good happens after midnight. So a lot of the times when I'm dealing with people, it's not too good.
Right.
And so people in those positions tend to be obstinate anyway. They don't want to get arrested. I understand it, but they committed a crime. We arrest them.
Right.
But so the people that I talk to at midnight, even though I see, and it's not to say that, well, every time I see black people on midnight, I'm arresting them. That's not the case at all.
Right.
But they are just leery of me because of the time and the day. If I walk up to them and start to talk, they're leery. And sometimes it is difficult to get through because whatever the most recent headline about police brutality or some other kind of an unjustified shooting, that is the first thing they come at me with. And so now I have to take that ground and get up that hill to overcome that, and it's very difficult to do in one conversation. You have to build a relationship, and hopefully that person that I'm talking to is in the community and I know somebody who they know and we can talk, and it's still a little bit difficult. So yeah, historically it's been tough. It's been tougher by recent events, and I understand that, but at least I'm trying to have the conversation.
Right.
And that's a reason why you need African American cops out there, minority cops, because, and I'm not saying that my Caucasian counterparts don't have the conversation, not all of them, but certainly there's a different level of listening that you get from me as opposed to somebody else. And I'm saying that the young kid might give. They might give me a little bit more than they give somebody else. So it has been tough, but I think we just have to keep on at it, and we have to hire more because it can't be just two voices out there talking. It's got to be 200, and there's a visual thing. There's all different ways going to it. All different things.
I got 1 second. I got a listener, Jack Tooney.
Jack Toon.
So I said, so I see you, Charlie.
My man Jack, man. Love you to death, bro.
So how about you, Charlie? What has been your experience in dealing with talking to the youth and trying to get them to take the test and being part of an institution that a lot of times we might have a little struggle in understanding what's going on?
Well, as the brother was saying, man, I think it's about building relationships.
Right.
And I can speak for myself. Coming from one of the housing projects in Yonkers, you keep that with you. So when you get in that position, it's important. I worked in midnights my whole career as well. I actually just started working the daytime. So for me, thank you. People that work midnights know that feeling.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, man.
Too, right?
Yeah.
So we want to take the working the daytime as an opportunity to go into the old neighborhoods, continue to talk, and you know what, off duty as well.
Right. See,
Off duty as well. Going to where you grew up at, going to the neighborhoods. Build relationships. We've had forums recently just on this topic. We invited African Americans that potentially wanted to take the test, but there may be that hesitation, and we just brought them in and we started having real conversations. And to whatever they wanted to talk about, whatever the hesitation was, we had black officers up there sharing their experiences about what it is, what it isn't. Because like you said, there's a lot of misconceptions out there. And we've gotten positive feedback from that. I mean, real positive. As far as, I was hesitant before this forum. Afterwards, I'm taking the test. So I want to add that we're having one more.
Okay.
The 20th, 7 p.m., Nepean Community Center. So if you know anyone, if you're eligible, if you know anyone that's eligible, but they may be on the fence, they're hesitant, whatever the case may be, we're going to have real conversations. We'll get it all out there. Whatever the hesitation is, let's talk about it. So
that's what's up. Bob?
Yeah, so because you brothers are here to essentially recruit for your respective departments, I wondered if you could just provide us an overview of the current proportion of people of color in the department so we can get a sense of, whether or not it actually reflects the composition of the community.
Well,
and it's just rough.
I have numbers.
They
I have numbers.
got numbers.
Everyone, Bob, we knew you were going to be on. We heard.
I think that from our administration on down, you've always heard the catchphrase that the police department should reflect the community. So
Right.
our community, I can speak for Yonkers, is about 19%. So in terms of what the police department looks like, there's 650 officers, 652 to be exact. So that means 19% should be about 122, 123 officers. Right now we're at 35. So that reflects just 5.3% of the department right now. So go ahead, because I could get into more numbers.
One of our listeners want to know, why do they have to take a test? I don't know, maybe you can explain that. He's like, why do you have to take a test?
Civil service.
Right.
Okay, well, I just wanted to answer the question because
Yeah, it's civil service. You have to take a test in civil service.
Carmen Gomez Goldberg said, "Congrats, Damon. Just tuned in. Where's Lorraine? Lorraine took the week off. Everybody's gonna ask. I'm gonna have to keep saying that every now and then. Lorraine took the day off. See, Lorraine, you get love when you're not here.
That's
see?
right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
From the New Rochelle, to answer your question from New Rochelle, so New Rochelle has presently 16 African American cops, and they're out of 100 and approximately 61. I was just trying to look at the numbers rough, so that comes out to a little bit less than 10, 9, you know,
somewhere in
straight 10 if you look at it, but it's high 9s, low 10.
What are we looking at in Mount Vernon?
Mount Vernon has the most black cops in any municipality in Westchester County. They should be. I don't even know the numbers. I stopped counting because the last couple of academies, it was damn near all black. So they have historically. I don't know the actual numbers offhand. I fell off counting and keeping tabs, but historically, out of the 43 municipalities, Mount Vernon has always had the most black cops out of all the police departments.
Right, and I had New Rochelle overall population of African Americans 19%. So
Okay,
we're down 9%.
Right.
You know,
Well,
to-
50% to come into.
to the overall, right?
Proportion.
And you know that I think that you need to reflect the diversity of your community.
Right.
But what I fear sometimes is the slippery slope of saying, hey, we got 19% African Americans, we need 19% African American cops. We need, like the brother said earlier, qualified cops.
Yeah, right,
Go
right.
out and recruit, because what if I'm number 20? And now I'm looking and say, well, we got our number. No. I want as many qualified police officers as possible, in addition to having a diversity of the force, because that's necessary. And there is a way to accomplish that. We just have to go out and do it. We can't sit back and say we got our number and that's good, we're done, because through attrition, retirement, things go. You have to constantly, you should want to recruit the best people. And the problem that I have in a lot of conversations is whenever you talk about diversity, whenever you talk about hiring minorities, some people will say, well, we're not going to lower standards. I go, wait a minute.
Yeah, right.
Why is that the first thought that you have?
Right.
That in order to hire African Americans, you have to lower standards. We're not saying that. There are a huge number of African Americans that are qualified out there. You just have to go out there and get them. You have to have the conversations so that they know that there's a need to be at that table. Because like I started saying recently, I forgot who said it, but if you're not at the table, you could be on the menu. You have to get out there and you have to recruit all of the qualified brothers and sisters that are out there, because they are out there.
Well, let me ask you a question. So, I know you're talking about recruiting, and the entry level recruiting right now. But I know Damon has mentioned this, and we've spoke about this a lot. Of the 43 municipalities in Westchester County, there are no blacks in the commissioner's position. And Damon can correct me if I don't want to misquote you. I think you said over the position of captain. Is that correct? Throughout the county, is it over the?
I think captain or higher. I believe it's good. I think the highest ranking is a captain. Right? Yeah, it's a captain, and all the three municipalities. There's nothing above. There's nothing above captain.
So and with anything, we always talk about getting our numbers, but when we have those numbers in the community, we don't have that reflection in leadership, and I think that's equally as important as you know what I'm saying when it comes to the policing your community.
That's exactly right. That's a great point, because in New Rochelle, of the 16 that I mentioned, there are 10 of us. 5 of us are supervisors, 10 of us can walk out the door tomorrow.
Wow.
10 of us can walk out the door tomorrow. So when you don't have diversity throughout the ranks, you don't have, so right now, you don't have the people that are taking the test to be promoted. You know, and then you have sometimes, depending on when you give the test. I've been a lieutenant for 3 years now. I haven't taken one captain's test yet. So it depends on when you call for these exams.
Oh,
And
have
so
they given them?
They have not given the captain's exam
In 3
since
years?
I've been a lieutenant. Yeah,
Really?
it'll be 3 years coming up, yep.
Interesting.
So those things happen. Now we happen to have a minority captain. He's Argentinian, I believe.
Okay.
Very good guy, but he's retiring. So, just like you said, we need to reflect it at all levels because, again, if you're not at the table, you do not have an opportunity to bring up your story. What's your story? What is your reason for not wanting to have this police initiative, whatever you're going to think about doing? Why do you think it's a bad idea? Because somebody who doesn't know just doesn't know. You know, I can't blame. Well, you can if it's willful, but you just can't blame if somebody doesn't know why you need to do something a certain way. They just don't know. But if you have diversity at the table, then somebody can say, well, wait, there's a problem with that because this is not how it's going to be taken. It might be good the way you want to say it. It might sound good, but to the younger brothers and sisters out there watching it, they're looking at it and they say, well, wait a minute, what does that mean? You know, so that's not good. It's all in perception. I had just real quick story. A bunch of years ago, I was with one of my friends, white cop, very, very good friend of mine. We've been away together, played golf, very, very good friend. And we were down in the Bronx doing an auto theft detail, both in plain clothes in a police car that was absolutely not the standard undercover police car, like a Toyota or something. We found a stolen car that was from New Rochelle. Call our boss. He said, all right, sit on it for a while, see what happens, see if they come back. If not, call the precinct, let them take it and then pick it up. We'll send our truck down there, process it, and bring it back here, and that's good. So we sat there, nothing happened. And after midnight, because we found it before midnight, we said, all right, let's call it in, let's call it a day, get it done. So we called the precinct. The stolen car is to our left, up the block a little bit. We're sitting back. Precinct car pulls up behind the stolen car. And I was in the passenger seat. My friend, partner, was in the driver's seat. And he pulled up, and you frequently see police officers talk to each other side by side, one facing the other way. He pulls up right up to the car and dressed down and pulls up and talks to the guys, and they look at him. Not their fault. I'm not trying to put anybody in a bad situation to say, hey, they were wrong. Nobody was wrong here. They go, hey, how you doing? And they goes, yeah, this is what's going on. So then we pull away, and I said, do you see the difference? He said, what? I said, I would never have ever pulled up to those cops like that, the way I'm looking right now. He said, why? What do you mean? I said, well, see, you pulled. He said, what would you have done? I said, I would have got out where we were. I said, I would have had my hands up, you know, not up, but to the side. And I said, I would have made sure my badge was out and they saw that I was a cop. And then they acknowledged me, and then I would walk up to them. I said, the difference is you had the idea that they didn't think of you as anything but a cop.
That's
I
right.
said, and I had the idea that they wouldn't think of me as a cop.
Right.
You know, I said, it's just a small thing. I said, but that's a very small difference. And he thought about it. And he, like I said, he's a very good friend. He understood it. But those are the things that people don't realize sometimes, you know, that is going on in our mind. You know, I take off the uniform, I'm just any old guy, just like any old white cop. But it seems that sometimes there are some differences in the way we are perceived.
Yeah. Oh well.
You know,
sometimes.
so that's why that's why we need to have more. And like the brother said, that doesn't mean that you're going to get any different, you know, treatment. All my skin folk ain't my kinfolk.
There you go.
But
there you
you
go.
know, you at least some people might feel more comfortable. And if it's about feeling more comfortable, well, that's what the public wants. They want to feel more comfortable. Well, then let's have at it. Bring in more African Americans.
And it's not to throw Mount Vernon under the bus, but Mount Vernon, as
You
far
just
as black,
throw him under the bus.
But as far as black communities, you know what I'm saying? Like, everyone looks to Mount Vernon. Not even just in Westchester. You know what I'm saying? Because Mount Vernon,
I'm about to say,
no, speak on the conversation because, see, if I say it, I'm hating. But
Well,
you know,
well, that's what we were saying.
but you know,
But that's
this
what-
is a conversation. Just speak on the conversation, Charles.
Well, basically, what I talked about with Damon last week was that, knowing he's from Mount Vernon, people outside of Mount Vernon look to Mount Vernon to get it right.
Right, I remember when you said
And we watch news and we see the infighting and the bickering and whatever the case may be, and we see all people that look like us.
Thank you.
And we sit from the sideline, and I'm in Yonkers, and we doing what we doing over here, but we look to Mount Vernon. I'm like, I just want them to get this right, man, because they could be a beacon for all of us.
Thank you.
I've said the same thing so many times. I get
now
so
it's just not
disappointed.
because I say it. I'm not from Mount Vernon, but if I say it, I'm hating. You understand what I'm saying?
And that's why I wanted to bring it up, because it's like literally we also had this conversation. I talked to Yonkers politicians, New Rochelle politicians. Now, at least in Yonkers, you got white, black, Hispanic, Republican, and Democrat. Sometimes they can't get along, and there's a lot of infighting. Yeah. We have black Democrats fighting each other.
Yes.
Like, we can't blame anything on the white man, because it's like
That's
we
right.
are in all the key positions. Like, we are running this, and people look to that. And even up until this administration, we had a black police commissioner. Matter of fact, the only one in the 43 municipalities.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? And now we even don't have one.
Yeah.
And kind of how we go is how blacks are treated, you know what I'm saying, and looked at throughout the whole county. And I don't think that sometimes the residents and even some of the elected officials of Mount Vernon realize the importance of how we conduct business in the eyes of the world. We used to say when Obama was in office, for all those people that felt like, oh, don't give them black people any power. I would use the word black people. That's not the word you use. Because they won't know how to take care. They don't know how to handle it. And they didn't respect President Obama. All you got to do is look at Mount Vernon as an example of you giving them power and they don't know what to do with it.
Right.
And unfortunately, and that's an observation, and from a Mount Vernon resident. You know what I'm saying? It's an observation, but that's why I really fight the way I do for us to get it together. Sometimes it's airing the dirty laundry. Sometimes it's shining lights on certain things. You know what I'm saying? We got to put that out there just so we can get the bad apples out and try to move forward.
I was going to say, not just Mount Vernon politically.
Yeah.
We deal with that with all black organizations.
Right.
Including my own.
Right.
About the involvement and what level involvement and,
Right.
and the importance of what these organizations represent, especially for a black police organization, man. We're that middle ground, we're that gap.
Right.
And the opportunity that's presented before us is amazing. We could do incredible
Thank
things.
you.
Right.
Thank you.
Incredible things.
Mhm.
We're on the inside.
Right.
That's right.
So as you brought to, from the start, the conscious,
Right.
Right.
officer, whatever that may look like, but absolutely. And to go to your point with the whole promotion and leadership, it's not just getting there, but if you really want to make change, you have to be in those decision-making positions.
That's right.
So take those tests. I've been a sergeant for 3 years, and there's only 2 of us.
Wow.
There's only 2 right now. There's only ever been 3 lieutenants. There's never been a captain
In Yonkers.
in Yonkers history.
I've never been
a black
captain.
captain
Wow.
in Yonkers history.
Wow.
So we just took our lieutenant's test this
Good.
Saturday. So hopefully we'll see where it goes, but just not settled by getting in.
Let me when I came in 1990 and we had Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Jackson was at that time he was the highest ranking black law enforcement official in Westchester County. But when I came in the Westchester County Jail, black officers they had a swagger about them. You understand? Because dude, we had a brother that wasn't afraid being black. Wasn't afraid to speak what needed to be spoken about his department, and was in the community, was loved in the community. So our self-respect, was like you just came in like
Absolutely.
you felt like I'm here for a purpose.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
I'm here for and he, matter of fact, when I got hired, we had our commissioner and our deputy commissioner was back, because we had Quasim Inham, who came up from Rikers, was our deputy police commissioner. Okay. So, the attitude when you see people like you in those type of positions, and not being ashamed on who they are, and not being ashamed of being a black man. And Commissioner Jackson, you couldn't mistake that he was a black man, and but he was loved, man. I mean, he was even loved by a lot of the white COs because he was for his officers.
Right.
But he didn't tolerate that racism
Right.
stuff neither.
Absolutely.
You know, he ain't tolerate it. But you know, I mean, and I think more young officers, you know, and now even in corrections, you know, they have to understand the history and the struggle.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You know, and that's one of the my biggest pet peeve about these young officers, corrections, police, probation, that they do not understand the struggle, that you just didn't just pop up one day and was able to take this test. People fought and died. You know, they used to have algebra on the test.
Yeah.
You know damn well a lot of people was not taking the test that they had algebra.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Right.
people fought for us to have these jobs. The community fought for you to get this job, and then you get in there and you forget your responsibility.
Right.
Don't forget where you came from.
Yeah, if you forget where you came from. You know what I'm saying?
That's so true. And, you know, I remember I grew up in New Rochelle, and I knew it's something when you know all the black cops. You know, about a force. So if you know all of them, there
Right.
could be a problem.
Right.
So one of them said to me, who knew me since I was a young kid, and he says, you know, make sure you take that test. Those are jobs we fought for. And you know, he's passed on now, but his thought was, we fought to carve out X number of jobs for us, because
Right.
that's the battle he had to fight.
Right.
You know, we are not fighting that particular battle anymore in the same way, I should say. We are fighting the battle. But that was his mindset. Take those exams to make sure that you get those spots. Now we're saying, hey, all of these are open to us, all
Right.
of them. But back then, it was clear, all of those jobs are open to you, but back then you weren't getting all those jobs.
Right.
You know?
My uncle and godfather, George Moffett, was a New Rochelle cop.
Yes, I know who he
Yeah,
was.
that's- yeah.
But we had that, you know, and I think, you know, sometimes with the younger people, you hear, you know, the thing, when you're in a conversation and you are one of the only ones,
Mm-hmm.
and people, the game that you play, and you can get caught up in it, you know, they say, well, look at you were able to do it. And you go, yeah, I worked hard, I did it, you know, and that's on your mind. And I know I've fallen prey to that before. I have to admit I have
Right.
before, you know. And then you start to think and say, well, wait a minute. I'm not the exception, I'm the rule.
right.
I'm not the only black person that has done this. There's more of us out there. And you know, when it hits you, you go, damn, what was I thinking? But we're not the exception. When I say about lowering standards, you say, well, you know, there's just African Americans aren't in colleges and things like that. You go, yeah, I guess I did work pretty hard, because you get probably, I did work hard, I did sacrifice. And you go, well, wait
That's
a
the
minute.
trick.
That's the trick, right? And you say,
Man.
we have all these HBCUs full of black people, right? We have all these other colleges and universities full of black people. We are not, just because you attain a certain spot or position, if you will, or you get a certain job, don't be fooled by the talk of, well, you did it, so somebody else should be able to do it. Yeah, I'm not the exception. I'm the rule, really. I am just the rule. I am one of many that are out there. We just had to go out there and get those others and pull them on in also. You know, that's the key.
I wanted to say, and this is from a non-law enforcement position, more of a community position. When you see, which is what I applaud. I know you, and I'm not familiar with you yet, and I know how Damien does in the street. But when you see all these incidents of police brutality or police criminality or police misconduct, whatever you want to call it, and against black people, and black cops don't step up and speak about it, I do understand on one end, but in the community it does look like their silence does look like approval, even if that's not the case. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's from the community, so it does look like,
good
well,
stuff.
you're there and you work with these people and you're not saying nothing, like, so you approve of their actions. You know what I'm saying? And that's not always the case. And I
Absolutely.
want y'all speak about that a little bit.
Well, I think that's true. And silence does sometimes appear to be consent. But then we go back to the reason why we're here, recruitment. It is difficult sometimes to be that lone voice of dissension, even though the dissension is a righteous dissension. It's speaking out. It's difficult. The more of us that are there, the less comfortable people will feel on the inside with maybe some locker room banter or locker room talk, because sometimes it's tough to stand up. It takes a strong person to do it, and there are plenty that do it. As far as speaking out in the community, I would just say that there may be silence, but there is not consent, and maybe there are some people working from the inside. But I understand your point that we need to get out there more in front. Right, they don't see that. It's very difficult. So there are different things you can do, and if you don't want to be that lone voice, you need to join. And I'll say this because in New Rochelle, to be honest with you, we've had presidents of the Westchester Rockland Guardians that have been New Rochelle police officers. But there is not, and I take full responsibility for it, you know, in my older years, there is not that participation in a number of organizations that are out there.
I wanted to speak on that next.
And
where I was
so
going next. Yeah.
I tell all the younger cops, let's join these organizations because they are doing positive things, and they will also give you strength. I just joined the National Association of Black Law Enforcement Executives. I went and I was like, wow, this is, I didn't realize this, you know, in my long time. You know, I didn't know that there was a Yonkers Guardians Association. I didn't know Damon's. New Rochelle has always been a place above, and if you put your head down and you just keep on running, and I've been guilty of doing that, you know, you have what you want to do, and you kind of go, and you're trying to do these other things, and sometimes you feel that you're alone, but there are these organizations that are out there that you can join, and you should join, and you can move the ball forward a little bit more, you know.
And we need organizations with Black West has just at 1 o'clock this morning just became a proud member of the National Association of Black Journalists.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
very
that's
nice.
good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I'm
that's
saying.
nice.
Because of the importance of that. You know.
Yes, it's important. Look at Jamel.
Yeah,
Hill, right?
yes.
Right. But now, Charles, you're the president of the Yonkers Guardians. How does the officers, how do they treat you? Do they shun away? Are they scared? You know, I know what the hell I get at my job, but you know, for you being the president of the Guardians in Yonkers Police Department, has it been hard for you dealing with black officers? I am not even talking about the department, just dealing with black officers that have them participate.
It's a struggle. It's a struggle, and I'm not totally, because we have some good young brothers there that are finding their way.
Right.
And what I say to them, we were the same way. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm gonna keep it 100 with you.
Right.
With you.
No,
So,
no. This is what
when
this
I
show
first
is all
got
about,
on,
bro.
When I first got on, I'll be honest. You know, you're in a policing as a whole nationwide is a white male dominated profession. You know, and we all know that.
Right.
And you find your way, and to your point, you know, I earned my way here. I fit in. You know, I'm not the token, I'm not this, I earned my way. And sometimes people stay on that track.
Yeah.
Right.
Without sometimes realizing that there were a lot done before us. And to that point, when I start to hear about the Guardians, because both retired members, Stu Barksdale, Vinnie Tilson, they were the presidents.
Right.
And for a lot of years, they were holding the organization together. They were the glue. When they had us trying to come out to events and get us involved, we asked other people that we trusted and thought may have a different perspective. And one of the things I remember the first thing I got was they were a bunch of old black men with outdated issues. And that's what I got initially. And then I got, don't be a separatist. So initially, we have a group of us now that have, between 14, 18, 19 years on. Back then, we're fairly new. And we kind of shied away ourselves. And I'll tell you what got me involved is when I got involved with the recruitment process. And I'm a numbers guy. So when I start seeing the numbers and seeing the process, I thought something's not right. The process is breaking down for us. You know, how we recruit, how we hire. Now I'm looking back historically what the process is, and I'm like, something's not right. Then you start to open your eyes to the bigger picture. So even when Stu came to me years later, because I started getting involved, I started talking like, listen, we got to do something else. And the older guard, some of the retired members looked over and was like, it's your turn, young blood.
That's right.
And I kind of shied away still.
Right.
And what got me, and I think we spoke about this before, a trusted friend of mine said, listen, take the position. You tell him I don't want to. He said it gets you a seat at the table.
Mm-hmm.
I said, listen, I'm gonna take that spot, because there is that voice out there, like you said, the community is looking for the voice.
Right.
And for that voice to be heard, you got to put yourself in the right position.
That's right.
So, to your point again, we're trying to make it okay. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Be black. Be
That's
proud.
Yes.
Be proud of
There
who
you
you
go.
are.
It's not,
There
you're,
you
not,
Be a
you're not a
police
militant.
officer.
You're not
There
whatever.
you go.
Nobody
Be a
else
that's
is viewed
what-
as that.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
love your profession, respect it, but be black.
That's it.
And
That's it.
recognize you as a whole with this community, not
Mhm.
just your profession. And it's different. I think we talked about this before. There is a difference back then. There was more community policing back then.
That's right. That's
You know,
right.
there were people walking the beat back then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the way things were 20, 30, 40 years ago, cops had to have that relationship with the community. They
That's
came
right.
from it.
That's right.
It was us against everyone else.
That's right.
You know, where
That's right.
now the dynamic has changed. Where now black officers come in and they're kind of caught in the middle, because the public perception is this way, and then you might be trying to fit in this way.
Right.
So
Right.
we try to, it's a couple of us now that try to get them early. I'm talking about from the time they sign that application.
That's what you have to do.
From the time they sign that application, we're on them. We're helping out doing the physical. You got stuff in your background, let's help you clean that up.
That's right.
You got to work at 7, I meet you at 6 on that track. Let's go.
That's right.
We trying to build that bond with you from the start
That's it.
and let you know it's
That's
love.
good.
We want you here. We want you in. And then when you get here, just forward it. Pass it. Pass it forward.
That's it.
Don't thank me. Just do it for somebody else.
Do it for the next
And let's try to
person.
build off of that. So,
And one thing, I tell a lot of officers that the best thing about black law enforcement organizations is when you go to the national conferences and you're able to network with black officers from all over the United States, and you realize that the problems that we have are not new,
exactly.
and you be able to network and learn how to solve some of your problems what other people have solved in their cities.
Right.
But one of the key issues is, I told a young brother in my job, I said, look, we know that there's nepotism. We know all the isms that's in all the police departments. And sometimes people are put on fast tracks for promotions.
Yes.
You know, we know those type of people that are put on fast tracks. So they're put into certain places that they're getting that experience, right? So if a brother at my job is just a block officer and he's been a block officer for 7 years, he's not putting transportation, he's not putting booking, he's not putting all these other places where that person that might be favored is put on that fast track. You go to conferences, you take these certified classes. Now you got something underneath your belt,
Gotcha.
other than just working the block.
Gotcha.
And that's what the black law enforcement organizations was created for, is to help black officers move up and give them that type of knowledge and classes and training that they might not get from their prospective departments. You know, but these young officers, they don't get it until they get burnt.
That's right.
You understand? Then you're like,
absolutely correct.
you're like, dude, I've been telling you for the last 4 years to join and go to conferences and get all these classes underneath your belt. You know, and I could say, and I tell them, I said, Department of Correction ain't teaching me shit. Right? Being a part of the National Black Police Association and the National Association of Blacks in Criminal Justice, they taught me what I know.
That's right.
They can't claim what I know. They can't claim the classes that I took and was taught. I was taught from being part of black law enforcement organization. And if I could do it, everybody else can do it. It's not a phenomenon, man.
That's right.
It's not a phenomenon.
Yes, that's right.
You know, you just have to be diligent and you have to be committed, you know, and I never took a sergeant exam because that just wasn't my thing, you know. But other people can use that. I use it for other reasons.
Right.
You know, for what I'm doing now. But other people can use that to rise up the ladder. You know, but
Right.
you just
That's what
gotta
we
be
need. That's what we need.
right and be a part
rise.
of these organizations, and you could learn a lot from it, man. And it is just to see them disconnected. You know, I mean, the African American Day Parade was you know, when I see black officers go to what's the Irish parade
St. Patty's.
St. Patrick's Day.
and put on the green beanie.
Yeah.
You know, but then you say, "Hey, brother, let's march." I ain't got time. What? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you kidding me? You know, but that's the attitude.
Well, you said
But-
you said somewhere you even joined the Emerald Society as opposed to Blacks in Law Enforcement or something like that.
Yeah, cats.
Right.
Nah, I'm joining the Emerald Society. That's a cool piece.
Right. You know,
Let me. I got a couple of
Serious.
a couple of people on the check-in. Anthony Perez, Jamal White, Justice Smith, John R. Jones, Sue Shepard from Strong Island, J.R. Clemens, Tanya Connors, Kiki Carrier, Kiko Lele, I hope I pronounced that right, Naz Duncan, Gail Baxter, and anybody else I forgot. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to ask a question, since one of the purposes is to try to recruit young brothers and sisters. I'm sure the question that's on their mind is, how much money can I make? what kind of career prospects do they have if they were to join one of the police departments that you guys are representing here? What's the minimum qualifications, and ultimately, if they move up the ranks, you know, what's the max salary that they're looking at?
My bad. I thought everybody turned on their phone.
I like that ringtone though. That's what's up. I speak for Yonkers.
Yeah.
It's high school diploma or GED. That's all for us.
Wow, that's
And
good.
yeah, it's good. That's good. I know we advertise to other departments, but we do. I mean, other counties, but we do give preferential treatment to Yonkers residents.
Okay.
And that's what I focus on, because that's what it's always been, Yonkers residents. So that's a plus. You can take it, but if Yonkers is Yonkers. So the starting salary is $72,233 day
Good
one.
God Almighty!
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
For a minute, I was toying around in my own mind, but
Yeah. Let's talk.
I gotta ask about the age limit though.
I
Now,
was gonna go with that. I wasn't making no assumptions, brother. But the cutoff, you can't be 35 unless there's some military credits you may have that can extend that a couple of years.
Right.
But you can't be 35 to take the test.
got you.
After 5 years, it goes up to $100,000. Anybody familiar with law enforcement in any capacity
good money.
understands the amount, the pension. You get a pension after 20 years. The advancement for movement. I mean, the test is the test. We try to get people to take promotional tests. Anything outside of that, we try to push for. Detective. I was a detective for 3 years. Anything. We have K9, we have, the Marine unit, we have our crime scene unit. There's so many other areas you can go to. And like you said, pushing through it, that's another importance of having organizations that represent the best interest of that demographic that you represent. And with us is, our black officers, and we want them to have a fair share at everything, and push them to take promotional tests, but also we want to be reflected in other areas as well, so that's important. So
right. That's true. Just to go with what you said, sometimes with promotional exams and coming on the job, sometimes that young officer doesn't see her future, but an older officer does, and they can push you into doing those things. And like you said, you go to these other organizations and you realize you're not alone, because sometimes you can feel alone, but they have the information for you. They can tell you how to do things when you have, and that's what any other affinity group does. They push,
That's right.
and they explain how to do these things, and how I never knew when I took, there's an organization, I hope I can say it, Police Tutorial Services. They help you study for the exam. They have tutorial exams, and they're very good. I didn't even know that they existed. So when I was studying for the sergeant's exam, I'm going and getting a penal law book and reading it back and front and all these different things, and I didn't know and I consider myself a smart guy, but I didn't know this existed.
Right.
Had I belonged to an organization, maybe I would have known that this existed.
That's right.
Maybe I would have known how to go about studying. Maybe there's a couple other people studying, we could do it together. But that's what these our groups can do for us. But at New Rochelle, the salary starts at $50,000, and you can top out at $95,000. Our contract is up in 2019. Hopefully there'll be an increase there. And like the brother said, all of the units that you go into, and we have the same as Yonkers does, all of those carry a another increase in salary. And what I just represented was just the base salary for just an officer that's
that's
on the
dope.
street
Yeah.
without
Yes,
anything.
yes, yes.
If you're a part of the K-9 unit, there could be a stipend
Yes.
involved in that. Certainly with a detective, there's a stipend involved in that. So you can increase that number with movement, you know, and sometimes people don't see it. They say, well, I just want to stay here and do this. Well, okay, I get it, Mr. 23-year-old, I get it. It's,
Right.
it's easy getting in and out of that car on midnights like I was, you know. Now I'm not 23 anymore. I'm getting in and out of that car at midnight. It's a different person getting in and out of that car. Two different people now.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Tell me
So
about it.
it changes, and they just need to understand what, even when you're on the job, that there are career options for you to take. There are these training things. If you don't, if you put in, you don't get it. Well, there's outside places you can go to get that knowledge.
Yes.
Because if you wait, like the brother said, sometimes it takes you to get burned. I tell my cops all the time, if you wait until the announcement to start preparing to make that move, you're already late.
That's
You know,
right.
there are
That's
people
right.
that are I know some people that have their career all plotted out already.
They
I'm
come
gonna
out there.
take this-
Some come
yes.
out the academy already ready to go.
Yes.
You know,
Do
they're already ready
this,
to go.
and
I
they-
mean, I've seen officers that straight out of the academy. Now they're captains. You know, and it's like okay, you know, and they have no knowledge even of the job, but they're captains now.
Right.
You know, because that was their goal to maneuver that and get straight to a position where they're at, you know.
Right.
But we don't do it for ourselves though.
That's right.
But like you said earlier, it's having somebody in that position prior to you.
Well, that's it too.
You know, to get that, to be in that space to see,
Mhm.
look, that's what I want to attain to. You know, I want
Mhm.
to take these tests. I want to do it.
That's
That's
right.
good. A point you made is that one of the officers I work with, you know, white sergeant, good guy, but I found out that the moment he got on the job, they had a little celebration for him at his home, and someone handed him a supervision book to study already. Didn't even go through the academy yet.
Mhm.
But said, you know, get on that track
Mhm.
immediately. Do what
Right.
you got to do here, but once you get
That's
out,
right.
focus on your focus.
That's
So,
right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. You know, I mean, what they call them, rabbis.
Yes,
Right.
yes, yes.
And one of the I do a class for the National Association of Blacks in Criminal Justice called the importance of Black law enforcement organizations. And one of the main reasons of the first Black police organization in Houston was rabbis. They wanted to be rabbis for younger Black cops. You know, they wanted to have that type of system, so young cops can come in and have that type of guidance. You know, but we also have to look at the responsibility is on ourselves.
Yes.
You know, it's on ourselves to try to reach out to the young officers and get them involved, man, and definitely get them. Because you know, I could remember, I thought I knew it all. 21 on the
Yeah.
job, you know.
Who didn't?
I thought I knew it all. You can't tell me nothing. I'm making over $100,000 a year, man. Please, you can't. You know, you ain't telling me nothing.
Yeah.
But now I look back, I ain't know nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know anything. So you know, we got to continue to help and being in organizations is very, very, very important, man. But sometimes they don't feel because, you know, like you said, don't go with them. Them cats is racist.
Right.
You know, because they start labeling organizations. You know, and then I hate when some people say, "Well, why do you have to have a Black police association?"
we get that. We get that. Like, why do you have to have a Black Westchester?
Yeah.
Why can't it just be Westchester?
Why can't it be
Right?
Westchester?
Yeah.
Right. And it's crazy, like you said, and like the brother said also, don't be afraid to be Black. I'm proud to be Black. You all of a sudden, when somebody says, "Why do you have to have a Black Westchester?" all of a sudden you feel like, "Oh yeah, why do I have to?" Wait a minute. Wait.
Right.
Why is there a connotation of it's bad automatically?
Because
When I enjoy
nobody would question an Irish Westchester, an Italian Westchester,
That's
even
right.
a gay American Westchester or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Nobody would
right.
question any of those Jewish Westchester. No, but the word Black. you know,
But they don't question
Well-
all the other police organizations.
That's right.
Right, it's
They
just, the
don't-
word,
don't.
it's
They
just the
don't.
word black.
With us,
You know what I'm
it's
saying?
that, well, they're going to be those militant guys that are going to be going around with their fists raised in the air, and they're going to start to want to burn down something. You get that, and you go, well, wait a minute. Oh, wait, that's
I don't know.
not
I
what
never
that is.
saw any black officers with the red, black, and green lapel pin on their. I don't see
Right,
that.
It's
You
not
know.
about that. It's just about what we've been saying about having a group of people that you can turn to for a source of information, a source of guidance to just move ahead with your career.
Yeah,
I have a
and
que-
I do want to underscore something, though, because I think recent reports that we've seen on national television make clear why there's a need for various caucuses and major institutions to represent the interests of black people and other groups. The fact that an officer, either in jest or in seriousness, would say to a white civilian, do not worry, we only kill black people, we're only going to shoot black people, really does highlight, in some sense, it gave the American public a rear peek behind some of these interactions and the feelings of one officer. I'm not going to extrapolate from him to the rest of the department,
Right.
but at least we do know, and incontrovertible evidence, that there are officers who are on the job who will mistreat civilians and even fellow officers, and that, I think, makes it clear. And, you know, when there's no need for, when there is no such treatment, then there will be no need for special organizations to
There's-
represent the unique
We have a
interests of
question
black
from Yonkers from Gail Baxter.
Hey, Gail.
How you doing, Gail?
How many black African American officers, including sergeant, lieutenant, captains in Yonkers, graduated from Yonkers Public Schools or have GEDs issued through Yonkers, are currently on the job? What is the ratio to others, and how long do African Americans remain on the list before being accepted into the academy?
That's a lot, Gail.
Well,
He said, I brought some numbers,
that's
but
always Gail.
I appreciate Gail. I appreciate Gail. Gail, I don't have any numbers in regards to where we graduated from, but I do understand that is a factor, you know, growing up. And I just want to add that I remember watching a local news channel several years back, and there was a police firefighter football game, and I believe it was in Mamaroneck. I'm not sure.
Did y'all just have one? Who won?
We just had one.
Who won?
We did 3
Okay.
years in a row.
Okay,
But-
okay.
No, yeah. But the important point that he was interviewed after, I think he was a fire chief, and they were having a fundraiser for a local cause. And again, paraphrasing, they asked him, why do they do this every year? And he said, because 90% of us are from here. So that automatically triggered a sense of belonging to the community, a sense of giving back, a purpose, a loyalty to that community. So with that, you know, graduated from Yonkers schools, and you know, I mean, there was some legislation on the table in regards to adding, you know, points to that, and that's all political. All I know, it hasn't been done yet, so there should be more. Gail, there's never been a black captain. There's only been 3 lieutenants. And currently there's only 2 sergeants. And I'm sorry, what was the other part?
The last part was, how long do African Americans remain on the list before being accepted into the academy?
Well, the list lasts for 4 years, and that's one of the focuses that we have, because I don't know how they do it in New Rochelle, but we're in a zone, and the difference between that and scoring, if people don't understand it, is that the fire department, let's say as an example, they do a written score and a physical, and they get 2 scores, and then they're averaged, and then you get a place. So you know, AJ, if I'm 25. So when they go down that list, I know I'm 25. With zones, it's you're grouped in, so you can get an 89, I could get a 90, Damon could get a 91, and we're grouped in a zone. So if you get 100, anybody that got close to 100 be in zone 1, anybody close to 95 will be in zone 2 and zone 3, and et cetera, et cetera. There's some law to it where you can't skip or go out of the zone, but once you're in that zone, once it opens up, you can pick wherever from that zone. And unfortunately, you go back to, let's say, the 1990s, in the entire decade, we probably hired 4 black cops in the entire decade. We've improved on that, but 20 years ago, we were 5.2% of the department. Now we're only at 5.3. So in 20 years, we only increased 1/10 of 1%. But organizations, as joining organizations go, we identify that quickly. We know, like I said, from the moment you filled out the application, we know who you are. We got to meet you already. We ran with you. We did push-ups with you. So we have a list of everybody that's black on that list. So when they get to that zone, we know who's in it. And we push for that. We push for them to get hired.
And that highlights one of the reasons why civil service tests are often used. Because in the past, it was totally at the discretion of executive officers in municipalities to make judgments. And I'm saying the distant past now. And so, at least in some instances, civil service tests were implemented in order to try to eliminate that kind of arbitrary determination on the part of executive officers who probably would have been mostly white then, for sure. We're talking about 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago now, to giving them the ability to simply skip over people of color. And so this was to help to try to come up with an objective measure. So, and I say that because one of the young, I guess a young brother who called in asked why, or wrote in, why do we have to even take a civil service test in the first place? And this was actually supposed to be a kind of progressive device to make sure that people wouldn't be skipped over and you wouldn't have this kind of ethnic racial packing.
Well, the show's called People Before Politics, and Damon and I always say, you know, politics affect every aspect of your life.
Absolutely.
So, and we try to educate people. How does local politics, the importance of going out and voting for elected officials, play a part on how your police department polices your community? Can you speak on that a little bit, or?
Well, I think that it kind of gets back to what I said a little bit earlier about being at the table. If you're at the table, if you have a chief executive of a city, there might be, there's the, just like we have today in politics, there's the political way we do things, and there's the military thing we do things. Not to liken the police to military, although that's happened all too much. But what happens is, so a police executive might believe that, and certainly an executive of a municipality is going to listen to his commissioner or chief or whatever, at least take his advice, and then make the final decision. So if the police executive thinks that a certain problem should be policed one way, let's pick something that seems to be on the rise again, homelessness. We should police homeless people in a certain manner. There's a police response to that, and that might not be the best political response for the mayor or city manager who runs the city. So if you have people that are elected to those positions, or the city manager is certainly not an elected position, it's chosen by the city council, hired, so to speak. But if you have people of color, just like of any, in those positions, they come to it from a different angle. Maybe they might see something a little bit differently, and they can say to the police executive who wants to maybe be more aggressive or less aggressive, they can say, hey, we need to do this, or we need to do that, we need to bump it up, or we need to pull it back a little bit, because that's not playing well with my constituency, and I'm about getting to the next election and getting through that successfully. That's how it plays, I believe. That's a personal opinion, how I think politics and policing work. Now, should it work that way? It should not. It should be just pure what's right for the people, what's right, because we certainly work for the people. Those are our constituents. And but I think that does happen. So we need to get out. We need to vote. We need to have serious people running for office with our agendas in mind. Maybe not the top of the agenda, but certainly we need to be in that stack of papers that you have. You know, you need to know what our feelings are and what our views are, I think.
Well, Charlie, I'm going to ask you a different question. So how is it when you have say a union president who's his agenda is more about getting reelected than doing what's right, for the people
When we
that
say
serve it.
a union president.
You don't think y'all are like that's elected from the
Well, from within.
From within, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
But so keeping that position is more, you know, sometimes where you're serving your own agenda as opposed to the agenda of the people that you represent.
Well, and I think Damon
And
and I
I-
spoke. Go ahead.
And I know that exists because I know we won't call them anything. We know some people like that. So
Okay. So,
See, why you starting, man?
I think that I think Damon brought up a good point at a meeting we were dealing with last week. Is that you know, we have to keep in mind union deals with labor issues, and they deal with people within their union. And you know, my particular well, we talk about the PBA president. You know, Keith. Keith, good friend of mine. You know, I know he has certain beliefs, you know, and he does a good job at protecting his body, you know, and that's what he does, and like I say with Keith, I probably, you know, 90% of the time we agree, you know, but I think on the 10%, just is at the forefront right now with certain issues, when we deal with, you know, hiring practices, implicit biases, and, you know, a whole gamut of stuff that's at the forefront right now. So whether or not, to answer your question, you know, special interest in keeping the position, I can't speak for everybody, you know, other departments, but me personally, I think he's good where he's at. You know, I think his position is solidified as long as he wants to, you know, remain there. I do give him credit, like Damon said, to have those type of conversations.
Right, to be there, to
be willing to have those type of conversations. And
because
even
we gave him some questions.
Yeah. So even if we don't agree on the points,
Right.
you know, we can have that dialogue,
Right.
and try to build on that. More expediently than you know, I would like to be more expediently than to get stuff done.
Right.
You know, but we're starting to have those conversations. I think we need to have them a lot more often. A lot.
We got a couple
definitely.
of more people. Anthony Old School Mitchell. So what's up, brothers from Raleigh? Shout out to Antoine Anderson from Atlanta. My cousin Wayne Robinson from Atlanta. And Uncle Frank Trulio.
Frank.
is on the check-in.
Oh, Uncle Frank?
Yeah, Uncle Frank's on the check-in.
What's up, Uncle Frank? But you know, again, I want to say, man, yo, big shout out to Olsen, man.
Yeah,
you
no
know,
doubt.
you know, I gave him much respect. I still
Now, thank
give
you.
him
Some
much
people
respect.
say, man, you wasn't hard enough on him.
Yeah,
That's not
yeah,
the
but
David we know.
it's right. Yeah, Cash is like,
Yeah,
yo, why
yeah,
you?
yeah,
Nah,
yeah.
man, it's not even about that because you know we have to have dialogue. As a black law enforcement organization, we have to have dialogue with the union, regardless of the fact. We have to have some type of dialogue with the union, and I give them a lot of credit. And I also said, man, you know, I said, you know, I don't know how that half of that membership might feel you having this conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, a police PBA is a PBA at the end of the day. Their mission statement is not about dealing with racism and equality. You know, their mission statement is to protect the officers, you know, through the collective bargaining agreement. And there's nothing I haven't seen anything in the collective bargaining agreement that deals with racism and equality and truth and justice and yada yada yada. You know, our mission statements as black law enforcement organizations, we deal with that. You know, and that's part of what we do. You know, within the scale of being in law enforcement. But I give them the credit because, like I said, you know, they are black union presidents that wouldn't sit, you know, especially my own, wouldn't sit and have that type of discussion, you know, and he's having a working relationship with you, Charles. You know, we can't have a working relationship with our union president. He's a black man, and that's you know, I have a problem with that, you know, and it shouldn't be like that. No. You know, it really shouldn't be like that. But, you know, unions have their mission, and we have our mission. You know, and maybe if Alonzo West will be a member of a black law enforcement organization one day, he will understand what our mission is about. You know, you know, but you know, it's rough. It's rough, but we got to keep. You know, at the end of the day, we got to keep pushing. You
Absolutely.
know, and again, shout out to Olsen, man. You know, I think it was a great forum. You know, and and there was some misunderstandings, but that is the implicit bias. That is the gap between understanding how people feel, and understanding how law enforcement feel, but we're having that conversation, and I think that was the best thing that came out of it. We having that conversation, and we can move forward from there.
We got a couple more people. My cousin Robin from Atlanta. We have Solomon B. Peterson. I think he's from Atlanta. Anthony Roman Snipes. Who else is in here that we didn't get to? Carlton Solomon, Sean Manley.
Carlton Solomon, Doc P.
Okay.
The great Doc P, Connecticut.
Okay. Sean Manley, Jason Lewis, Isaac Asbury. Just trying to make sure I call everybody out. That's the ones I see now, the newest ones. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, I thought you mentioned John Jones before. I want to give a shout out to John Jones.
Yeah, I did mention John Jones.
John Jones, retired Mount Vernon Police.
Okay.
What is it, detective?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think
He was a detective.
John was a detective,
I think he retired detective. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Anthony Mitchell, retired
Yes.
detective.
Retired honorary police commissioner.
Oh, yeah, honorary police commissioner. Okay. yeah.
Get it right.
Now Tillin and Raleigh.
Right.
He set it off and then he moved away.
He does that to me.
He's also a Q.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pratt.
We won't hold that against him.
Oh, wait now. Hold on now. Throw up the hooks.
And Clive D. Hodges said, great discussion, excellent.
Oh, my man, retired sergeant, DOC.
Okay.
Appreciate you, brother.
What's up?
Now I know you'll represent different departments, and I know I've had some discussions with the New Rochelle department. When we first started the show, there was a snowball issue when the cops pulled the gun on the snowball. It was kids, and I had Jared and one of your local bloggers, Talk of the Sound. They all came in. They came in to deal with that, but that started a conversation, and then we did many police community relation forums that I've been part of throughout the county, and every police commissioner and police chief has always told me personally that there is no racism in their department, and racism does not play a factor in how they police. And we know that not to be true.
Right.
Especially in Lower Westchester. But that was their party line, though.
Sure.
I mean, everyone,
Yeah, I don't.
A couple of mayors said it too. Roach, all of them.
Seems to exist in every other facet of life. I don't understand why we would be able to escape it.
Just like words like poverty and homelessness.
Yes.
In the richest county in America, it doesn't exist either. Yeah.
Right.
Really? Did you see the commercial that Rob Astorino did?
No, who's the black guy in the commercial? They said he was a black guy.
Yeah, some pastor. I don't know who this
it's not
guy
Richardson, is it?
No. It's no one I recognize. That's what I'm saying. It's not Richardson.
It wasn't Bishop Edwards.
Yeah. No, it wasn't Bishop either.
Okay.
But this commercial that they're running now about Westchester, and it says, Westchester, I don't know what's its best quality. Is it a great place to live or a great place to work? Well, I'm like, wow, Westchester just it's just wonderful either way. It's going to be wonderful, and there's no problems here.
But he brought up a good point, and what he said about local elections and having an agenda, that the collective has to have an agenda.
That's
and
right.
just because a politician does something for your group in itself, or your organization in itself, and neglects the whole,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
you can't now speak out and say, this is a great guy, great individual. You have to look at the collective, as a
Agreed.
whole. In Yonkers, we do it as, I do it as well. Like, there's a body of work now. And when we speak, and I don't speak of just Yonkers police officer black hiring. I look across the board. I look at fire department. I look at teachers. I look at, other departments within the city that we have control over, or the administration has control over. And that's a body of work you have to look at and say, this is what's said here, but the numbers don't lie. So when we give support out to these officials, it can't be like, well, so-and-so took care of the Guardians. I appreciate you. Thank you. But I can't neglect what's going on with my other brothers and sisters in other organizations. So that's big when it comes to speaking that commercial, Dame, in itself. So
I think we ran an editorial that I wrote specifically, and we were given an award, and I felt that the person who presented me with the award is not necessarily the best for the future of Mount Vernon, and basically said that person must go. And the picture for the top of the story was him giving me an award, and not to isolate him out. That means just giving us an award and taking out ads does not mean if you're doing wrong by my community. My responsibility is the people before the politics, and you know what I'm saying.
Sure, that's not a bottomless that's not just because you do something for me doesn't mean that I've now used up all the water in that well, and now I can't draw any more water. Wait, there are issues. It's an ongoing thing, and just like our support is ongoing, our needs and desires and wants are ongoing.
And if we helped you get in office, we're gonna be harder on you. Because we helped you get there.
Because our name is out there, we backed you.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes. Really?
Some people don't. Some people don't understand that.
So my mother always told me, I brought you in this world, I take you out.
Right.
I goes for any politician. I helped you get in, I will help you get out.
Yeah.
Shout to Sharon Salam, Yusuf's mom. She's in the check-in.
Hey, Miss Salam, how you doing?
Okay.
Yes.
Can I just want to get back to something that Damon talked about, brother, and you talked about I just want to make sure. When that snowball incident happened, I happened to be the president of that superior officer, the New Rochelle superior officers, and that was definitely mischaracterized. That that sergeant didn't do anything wrong in that instance. So I just wanted to say that, but I understood, like when you said, I was at one of my son's wrestling meets when I got a call that morning about, hey, this happened, and I didn't know. That was the first incident that I'd had in that position, and I just said, oh my gosh, what is going on? I knew the officer beforehand. I didn't have, or I didn't see any issues there with him that would say, hey, this is something. But we looked into it, and he did not. It was not as it was characterized, but it is a tough position, and there it comes down, and as much as there are some difficult problems, I have to say that in that position at that time, I did not have anybody come up to me and try to push me into a position that said, hey, you got to do the right thing by us, all of us, and you can't go out and do this. Nobody ever said that to me, so I was happy with that. I like to think that my previous positions put me out there where you won't bully me into being the face of covering something that wasn't right. And luckily, that thing there was no need to do that. It was a situation that was mischaracterized.
I wanted to mention another situation, but real quick. Daryl J. Jenkins said, big shout to Brother Jones. Winbrook Pride, keep up the good work.
Thank you, brother.
Priscilla Ichi's on the line on the check-in, and John Glover on the check-in. But
Priscilla.
there was another, huh?
No, I said hi to Priscilla.
Oh, okay. So there was another incident with there was a couple of officers from a couple of different departments that had made racial Facebook comments. We covered all of them. Out of all the ones we covered, the one with the fastest response in any sort of discipline was New Rochelle. Mm-hmm. That officer was disciplined or suspended hours later after our story ran.
Yeah.
Mount Vernon, I don't think anything ever happened to the officer.
Wow.
And there was a couple of instances. Once the New Rochelle guy wrote something along the lines of, don't call us. If you're going to be anti-police all the time, don't call us in the 15 worst minutes of your life. Matter of fact, next time something happens, call Sean King and Black Lives Matter.
Right. And I'll just tell you something now. That officer I happen to know, personally, and I'm always going to speak the truth. People are going to agree or disagree. He said those things and he was wrong. He called me almost, he was so upset with himself. He called me and apologized personally immediately. He said, look, I don't know what you're thinking, but I'm so sorry. And he was, he was,
No,
he
I
did.
mean,
He
to
was.
be real, he had somebody try to reach out to me, an uncle who's a big lawyer.
Oh, is
that
that
I had
right?
met at Tamika's fundraiser when Tamika was running for judge, and she was there. And the guy got the number from Tamika and called me and was like really trying to get us to all go to lunch together.
Right.
And
Well, I'll
have
tell you,
and
his
he was
work
like,
product has been, even before that, dealing with minorities and things. Never he like we talk about all my skin folk ain't my kinfolk. Right. He's pushing to give breaks to young brothers and sisters more than some of our skin folk.
Right.
So that's where I know him from,
Right.
and I honestly believe that he was definitely felt bad. Now some might say, "Well,
No,
it was after the fact."
I didn't think he should get fired because.
But right,
you know what I'm saying? 'Cause
and
I think a suspension was definitely
and he
called
did,
for.
He
Like
paid,
you know what I'm
like
saying?
you said, the job handled it immediately.
Yeah.
They took it, and he definitely took it to heart.
But I think
and
they were going to go after his job though.
And he-
then they
That
asked
wasn't
me.
enough. That wasn't enough to get fired.
And he
No,
right,
no,
and
I specifically said I said that I didn't think that it was a fireable offense, but I think suspension was the least thing.
Right.
That was
And-
definitely not called for.
And he absolutely, I have no problems with him thinking that he has these. I don't think that he's got any kind of any racial animus to that extent to do something. And I forgave him, and I think he was sincere in what he said, and I do. Appreciate that he reached out, and he definitely, like I said, he was sincere to all the people out there that read the story and know the story. He definitely was sincere in his apology and in his contrition. He definitely looked at it and said, I get it, and I don't have any problem with him from there. I think that while there are others, not that I see and I read in the paper that I go, this is crazy. But
Yeah, because there's the whole racist email scandal, Eastchester,
to
Pelham
those
Manor,
things, and to
Pel-
personally
it
know
was
this
it was the
guy-
Chiefs sending it to each other.
Yes,
Like,
yes, I saw
we
that.
ran that story too. Yeah.
Right, and like I said, I personally know this guy, and I think he's a good. I think he's a good sergeant. I think he's a good officer, and I don't think he harbors any racial ill will. I really do believe that. But I was very happy that the department did take swift and I think the appropriate action. I don't think it was a fireable.
Yeah, I don't think it was fireable because
I think that was
the fact that they asked my opinion, because I got called to ask.
That's great.
Like, was we going to fight for him to be fired? I was like, I'm not calling for his job.
That's great.
Like, I can't tell y'all what to do, but I'm not calling for his job. You know what I'm saying? But the suspension I think was necessary.
Right.
And Dame,
I think it's great that they called you.
right? Good night.
That-
Go ahead,
that's
Charles.
terrific.
Go ahead, Charles.
Okay,
Now,
good.
I was going to say that's why I think it's the importance of dealing with implicit bias.
Yes, yes, yes.
And we deal with that from all perspectives, and training may be one of those things that
Yes.
Keith and we spoke about there that may be one of those things, because we're not dealing all the time with some racist hardcore guy. But the thing is that when we look at institutional racism, systematic racism, it's my implicit bias. It's my if I'm discriminating against you, whatever my feelings towards you, plus power. So if I'm walking down the street and some 80-year-old, white woman comes out and calls me the N-word or whatever the case may be, all right. Am I upset about it? Maybe. But whatever. She's 80. There's no bearing on my life.
Right.
But if somebody has authority over me now, decision-making power over me, and has that bias, even if they don't articulate it in the way she did, that now is racism. That's what
Right.
racism inherently is.
And see, a lot of people don't understand that, and I don't know what it is when white officers make these statements on Facebook and it gets out, and then they're all so sorry. Dude, really, you put it on social media for the world to see, right? You put it on there, and then you're sorry for it. What makes
Are you sorry for the comment, or are you sorry that there's
I-
outrage
he's
against it
sorry.
now? You know
Right?
what I'm
Or he's sorry, or he's sorry that he got caught. We had one in our job. They took it swiftly. Then they were going to transfer him over to our building. We was like, absolutely not. No, you're not going to put him over here, because it's a lot of us over here, and we're not feeling that, because you know, because of the fact that, you know, he put it up and he worked with black people all day.
Right.
You know, and one retired officer said to me, and which was really strange, he said, this whole social media thing, right? So especially Facebook, he has worked with white officers for over 25 to 30 years. And he has unfriended so many white officers that he has worked with because of their comments.
Yes.
You know, and he was like, dude, I've worked with you for 30 years.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
and what is this coming out your mouth, man?
Yeah.
We worked together, we broke bread, we did what we had to do on the job. And now that, you know what's going on? And I was like, I was really shocked for him to say that. He was like, yo, it's crazy.
And our current president doesn't help the situation when he kind of justifies them. You know what I'm saying? He gives them a position. A lot of them that were politically correct, they wouldn't say certain things. Now it seems like it's okay to say those things now,
Right.
under the current,
Yeah, and then they say, well, I say it because I'm not being politically correct. I said, well, it's not about being politically correct. It's just about being wrong and being stupid. That's just, it's not political correctness. You don't call somebody some racial epithet because you want to be politically correct. I said, it's just wrong to do it.
Right.
It's wrong to have those feelings.
I don't walk around and address people as motherfucker.
Right, that's right, and that's not.
Because
and
it's
nobody,
then that's not a lack of political correctness.
That's exactly right.
I'm supposed to be courteous and respectful, even when I'm upset with you. I generally should not call you that, and if I do, I should be prepared and understand that people will be upset.
That's right, and right, and that's the same thing. It's just because you don't.
Last name is Thomas.
That's right. I mean, and even now I didn't attach. But I do want to say, D, yesterday I think I saw a post from you on Facebook about Mount Vernon elections, and you raised the question, why do some white Americans think that African Americans are going to vote for elected officials simply because they're black? And I think the same thing holds here with respect to how civilians and police officers respond to evaluate some of the transgressions of their fellow white officers, because me and AJ had pretty extensive exchange about the white officer from New Rochelle and what we thought should be the appropriate response.
When they called, I was saying, they're
because
going after this dude's
really
job. Like, I said, I don't think they should go after his job. Like, I kind of, like, you should have some kind of journalistic responsibility. Suspension was called for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I
brain fart. Really, it's a brain fart.
Yeah.
People can call it racism. I really don't think nobody's wife and children should be affected when their father did really something.
Not unless this is your regular vocabulary every day, all day. Now, Archie Bunker, like, you know what I'm saying? Then we got problems,
And I said that because I think it's important. Just like we got a peek at the white officer on the highway, actually, audience listeners get a peek at the logic that people are using.
But that white officer didn't think that white lady was going to go back and tell him.
Right.
Right.
He thought he was covered.
Right.
It's between us.
It's between us. It's between us. And she went back and told, like, yo, I was offended that he said, we only shoot black people. Mm-hmm. She was offended, and she told, and they pulled the camera, and they was like, oh my God, he actually said that.
Naz Duncan said good night, brothers, and congratulations again, Damon.
Hey, Naz, I have to call you soon too. But I mean, we have to work with this, and we have to see. The problem is we don't really want to address it. When you have a mayor and police chief and commissioner say, "Oh, there's no racism in our department," at an NAACP meeting, everybody was like, "Really?
Wow.
You really going to tell us? You're really going to tell us that?"
And the NAACP of the city that you're the police chief of that city. Not like the Yonkers guy said in the White Plains. It was the White Plains people that said in the White Plains.
Right. After the Kenny Chambers shooting, when the cops are on audio calling the guy N-word. You know what I'm saying? No, there's no racism.
And Janet DiFiore said that was a tactic to distract him while he took the door off. It wasn't a hate crime.
Yeah, when have we ever been taught that
she issued a
using the
statement
word
to say
nigga
that
was a tactic?
She issued a statement saying
that. Official statement.
An official statement that was in all the. Yeah, she issued an official statement.
Wow.
So I mean, we have to deal with that. Like how
And
do
it's-
you
wait,
respond as
but
a black officer?
I do.
You know,
I want to say one thing. While we were happy to get rid of her, now she's at the court of appeals. So now when Kenny goes to his appeal, at some point he got to face her again, right?
No, it's federal court.
Oh, federal. Okay. 'Cause I was about to say like,
You know, she's the chief judge.
like how
Yeah.
can you be appealed and then you go to the person that you know what I'm saying? Like,
Said that statement.
yo, this person said that. Oh wait, that was you. Like you know what I'm saying? Like that don't work for me.
No court of
We coming to the close of the show. I want to give everybody a chance to give
Yeah,
any
definitely.
last comments, anything people need to know about the test, why they should take it, when it is, et cetera, and anything that you want to add.
Again, like we, both departments, and I guess a lot of departments around, except Mount Vernon, we need better representation. And that's the thing. If we want change, we got to position ourselves to affect that change. And
You said except Mount Vernon?
except Mount Vernon, meaning that there's a large black officer, amount of black
Oh, okay,
officers
okay.
within the department.
Right,
Yes, sir.
Except in Mount Vernon,
But we lack. That's why I
We-
brought the leadership thing up.
we lack.
This is-
So,
that's-
Well, y'all, at least
but what I will say is that
I know where you going with that too.
y'all, you don't have a top sanitation.
At least they got a police officer.
At least y'all got an actual police officer running the joint.
We got the guy. We got the guy. Y'all, we got the guy y'all kicked out of town.
It's just true.
yeah, but when it comes
He's trying to come for you. You laughing. He's trying to come your. He's trying to come your way next.
Yeah.
he's
I heard.
Oh.
Yeah, he's trying to come for
coming.
himself.
We're talking about the is it
Yeah.
deputy?
Yeah. He has already got an office in the show. Yeah. Go ahead.
I
I'm
have to
sorry.
do more research.
That's all right. But it takes both ends. It takes us as a community. And I say us because us as black officers, we're part of that community.
Right.
It takes us to change the culture, and wanting people to take the police test, and it takes our administrations to give an earnest, honest effort, and not just recruiting a couple of months prior to the test, but all year long. Building relationships all year long. It's not you can't keep things a certain way and then say, hey, we're paying $72,000 a year. Come out. We want everybody to come. And my thing is, no matter what side you're on, and we talked about this outside, if you have a side or an opinion about Black Lives Matter, police brutality, whatever the case may be, if you understand the historical, in the historical sense of policing in the black community, whatever your opinion is, you understand that there is an issue there. There is something there. So you can't come with this same recruitment process and say we're going to keep doing this model all the time. There has to be something extra there. It has to be something more than just, hey, we do want you. If you want me, how do you show you want me all the time? What relationships do we build all the time? Real effective relationships. So for us, we wish it was like New York City, recruitment all the time, all year round, building relationships with our black organizations, and our black organizations sticking together, one mindset. Not just, this so-and-so did for me, so he good in my book. We have to collectively get on the same page because nothing's changed numbers-wise. Like I said, 20 years ago it was 5.2%. Today it's 5.3, 0.1% in 20 years. So if that's going to change, we can't just have, press conferences, whatever the case may be. We have to do this for real, collectively though.
I can't say anything more to that. Just
Now,
with-
do y'all have recruitment?
we have recruitment. We have recruitment. We found out that we were going to have an exam in the last week in August. The application deadline is October 5th. So clearly, like the brother said, we didn't have a long lead time. My goal
And
is
this
to
is
have,
the first I'm hearing about it.
Yeah, so
And so
we're
if
trying
Black
to have
West
one-
hasn't heard about it,
Right, it's not. It's
I'm
not
guarantee
out
you a
there.
lot of the black community.
So I'm going
hasn't.
to try
That
to
ad in that
push
paper.
we're going to put it in the paper. I'm trying to push for another test again next year. I don't know what I can do for that, but we need to have a longer recruitment period. Like I said, it closes October 5th. In New Rochelle, you have to have military or 60 credits, which I think people say, well, if we get rid of that, we're lowering the standards. We, I think, are the only police department in the county of Westchester that has that. I don't believe anybody else has that. We have it in New York
Well,
City.
you have to
has
have
it,
that, though.
where you have to have the college degree. But I feel
Well, I know in Suffolk County, they don't require you that. But if you go into it having military
You can
experience, you
Yes,
you go a little higher
Yeah,
up
you
or something when
you can get
Yeah,
extra
yeah.
points for
Right,
that, and that's
right.
anywhere with civil service.
Yeah.
But we have to learn that that's not lowering the standard. Don't give me when I was in college. All right, don't give me that police test. Don't put me on at that time. Give me the guy that was out there working and delivering and dealt with customer issues and things like that. So we close October 5th. So I want to urge everybody. Also, I want everybody to understand, and I don't want to step on Yonkers' toes, but you can take, it's only one test being given that day. And you can sign up if you apply in Yonkers and you apply in New Rochelle. That one test score will be sent to both cities. People don't really understand that, or
Is
wherever
it?
other city that you have around, because the state administers the test. So you can, but you have to apply in New Rochelle and you have to apply in Yonkers, and you will get a form when you take the test, and that one test will put you on both lists. Now that's notwithstanding all the residency requirements that might exist and things like that, but you can. Some people think, how am I going to do this? It's on the same day. I got to go to New Rochelle and take the test. Then I got to figure out a way to get to Yonkers to take the test. No, you just sit in either Yonkers or New Rochelle, and you notify the state in the testing. You'll find that out how to do it.
I'm listening to you. I'm in New Rochelle. How do I find out about the test? Who do I call? Where do I sign up?
You can come to City Hall, to the Civil Service Department. We have applications at mostly every church. I went to the churches. I went to the synagogues. I went everywhere in New Rochelle. We have them at 95 Lincoln Avenue. We have them at the Boys Club.
okay, yeah.
They are online at the New Rochelle City website and also the New Rochelle Police Department website. And there we have the application in PDF and printable form, so you can print it and bring it in. It's a $25 application fee. You can make an application to get relief from that application fee. I'm not that familiar with how to do that, unfortunately, but you can do that.
Yes.
Damon, any last words about anything?
Nah, I just want to thank the brothers for coming on.
I really
man.
want to thank
I
y'all
mean,
too. We need people need to see more
Yes.
officers of color
Yes.
speak again, because
especially
again,
from Westchester.
especially for,
Absolutely.
because again, like I said, they don't see. They're like, well, where the black cops at? What is going? I don't see no black cops step up. So I mean, just to hear y'all, come here and it's an open door when y'all have issues like one or two of those incidents. I hope they don't happen often in Rochelle, but you need to address it. You have this forum to come. The
I
same thing with
appreciate it.
Yonkers.
That's the thing.
When
Yes,
you have this
yeah.
forum, and that's
Having
what we
these
do this
forums
for.
is huge.
That's what we do this for. So I want to thank everybody who came. I want to thank everybody who listened. This was definitely a great show. Once again, I want to say thank you, Clyde. You said great show as always. I just want to, again, a couple of issues I spoke on, like to the Medina family in Yonkers, Disabled on the Move. I will be meeting with you this week, and I'm going to stay on that. And I appreciate that y'all are doing stuff, and the mayor's office is doing stuff. But until this family gets placed, when we're not going to take all these little things as and say, oh, good, they're doing something. No, the issue is them being placed in a first floor apartment or a building with an elevator. And until that happens, you will not hear the end of me. So I'm going to stay on top of that. What do we got? Anything coming up? We got anything coming up?
The 25th of this month at the Greenberg Community Center at 7 p.m. I am also the new criminal justice chair for the White Plains Greenberg NAACP, and we're having a discussion on prosecutorial misconduct. Attorney Lauren Razor and Peter Davis will be the panelists discussing due process and prosecutorial misconduct. 7 p.m. at the Greenberg Community Center, Manhattan Avenue, Greenberg, New York.
All right.
Yeah, I wanted to say that on October 15th, we're going to have an opportunity to continue this discussion about policing policy. My friend, Dr. Alex Vitale, is going to be in to discuss the publication of his book, The End of Policing. So
Wonderful.
So I wanted to just let the audience members know, the listeners know that set aside that time if at all possible, because I'm sure it's going to be a thought-provoking discussion.
Absolutely. Shout out to Ada, my old boss in Atlanta. Got a lot of Atlanta people listening today. I appreciate y'all. That's what's up. As always, you can listen to the show. If you miss it live, all the archives are on Black Westchester hit the radio tab, and all the previous shows are there. Last week's show I didn't get a chance to put up. That will also be up this week. You can watch us live on Facebook Live, Twitter Live, Periscope Live, and on the InTheMixRadio.com website. I think that's it for everything. If I didn't mention you, we appreciate you. You could be doing anything else right now, but you decided to ride with us, and we greatly appreciate it. This is Black Westchester Presents, the People Before Politics radio show every Sunday, 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com. Look out for the October issue. Thank you all for supporting the print issue of Black Westchester. Last week to get your advertising in. Just in case you didn't, that's for the cheap seats in the back. You couldn't hear me. So, with that said, we out. Peace.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And I'm not afraid to say.